Hey, what's going on? Jeff Wybo here, and in this video, we're going to be going over how to get your very first investment property. And the first thing you have to do is to get a down payment. And you have to figure out any which way possible you can to save up for a down payment. For myself, it was not getting the latest PlayStation out there, just saving my money and putting it aside. When I was 20 years old, I was able to save up $30,000 just by all the summer jobs I had as a teenager. And that really helped me out in the future in order to buy real estate. So it's a very big sacrifice you're gonna have to make in your first couple years, but you gotta find a way to save up for a down payment. And maybe that's a gift letter from your parents or whatever, but you need money. That's the first thing you're gonna need. And after you have money, you're gonna need your credit in order. And a lot of people just do not have this in order. It's probably because it's not taught in schools very often at all, actually. And you gotta get the credit in order. So get a credit card. I know when I was 18, I had a credit card. You put on the little food you buy, whatever, but you pay it off at the end of the month. That's what you do. And this will start to build your credit, and it's gonna go a long way when you're going to be out there purchasing a home. The next thing you're gonna have to do is to have your tax returns prepared. And if you're trying to buy a home, they're gonna wanna see this. If you're self-employed, like myself as a real estate agent, you're gonna have to show the last 2 years of tax returns. So get those to your accountant and pay them. I recently just had to pay my taxes. I had to put a $50,000 tax bill down. Some people don't make that annually, and that was what I had to put down. But I had to pay my taxes because if I wanna go buy more properties, I'm gonna have to show my tax returns. Next, you're gonna hear the cliche all the time, but you're gonna have to go talk to a mortgage broker, to a lender before you go and do anything to try to buy a property. This way, you're gonna know what you can qualify for. And if you see a property that you really like, you're gonna know that you can pull the trigger on it. So if you go to the mortgage broker, he's gonna tell you that you can qualify for, say, $500,000. Now you can start to go look for $400,000 properties, $450,000 properties, and you know if you like one of those, you can likely pull the trigger. You may not even need to put conditions in those offers because you know you can qualify for it. So it's going to come in handy, especially when speed is at an essence, and if the market's hot, they're not going to want to see conditions. So talking to your broker, if you talk to any real estate agent, we all have cliches like, are you pre-approved? We don't want our time wasted, and you don't want your time wasted either. So get out there, talk to your lender, find out what you need, and you're gonna need those tax returns. So bring that down to the bank, to the mortgage broker. Next, you're gonna need a realtor to begin to look at properties. But I would suggest for investment properties, everybody says like you're looking for an investment focused realtor. But the most investment focused realtor probably doesn't have time for the least experienced buyer who's trying to get rich with investment properties. So I suggest to find a realtor that's relatively new, maybe, a couple months in, but so they know how to do a few things, but they can get you data quickly. They can go open doors for you. They're not stupid, and they can help you out a lot. This way, they're going to be able to show you a lot of properties. And this is the fun part. You get to go out and look at a lot of properties. And that's where a junior agent is going to come in handy, because a senior agent isn't going to want to go look at 10 properties on a Saturday. They're just going to want to get one and done. And a junior agent is going to love to be out there in the field with you and learning with you and helping you out for you to make money with your investment property. They get a commission, but likely you will have the better investment long term. So don't just think, oh, but you get a commission. They're helping you make a lot of money. Next, once you find the property that you actually like, you have to determine if the property cash flows. You got to learn how to run the numbers. And there's lots of videos on the internet to learn how to actually run a property, to run the numbers, to see if it makes sense. But in reality, most properties out there probably lose money. It's also a reality that at a certain price, everything makes a great investment. It's really important to understand that these numbers. Here's a quick way to determine if a property will cash flow, and it's called the 1% rule. So if you're buying a property for $100,000, the rent better be $1,000 per month, or you can at least get it up to $1,000 per month. That's going to quickly determine if your property will cash flow. In amazing areas, you might get a 2%, and in more higher, dense areas, you're not going to come close to the 1% rule. People will buy duplex this for $600,000 and the rent will be $3,000. So obviously that property is likely not going to cash flow, but maybe it'll appreciate. So you kind of have to figure it out. When you're new, try to go for your cash flow. For your first deal, look for properties that just need some minor repair. You don't want a property that's completely turnkey and too perfect, because there will be no upside for a number of years with that property. But you're also probably not going to want properties that have bullet holes in them, because you're probably not experienced enough to take care of a property like that on your first deal. So leave the bullet hole properties to the second or third deal. And now here comes the fun part. You get to make offers on properties, and that's where a junior agent can come in handy, because you might offer on all 10 properties you saw, where a senior agent might try to, talk you out of it, or just kind of want to do one and done and get you the deal. Where the junior agent will probably do more what you tell them to do. So just kind of look for that win-win with the realtor to try to determine if you can make an offer on a property. Important to know, expect that not every offer will work out. For me, I make offers that are based on the price and the numbers that will work and the price I want to pay versus any specific list price. Too many people get caught up with trying to get the $10,000 under the asking price, when maybe $10,000 over the asking price actually makes sense and you will get the property. People get so concerned with that. When you hear somebody overpaid $100,000 over asking, maybe they didn't overpay. Maybe that's the market value. So just because a listing agent lists a property for X amount of price, don't think that that is the price that it has to go for. Sometimes properties go for $100,000 over the list price, but who's to say the list price was actually the correct price to list the property at? Maybe the market value is actually the $100,000 over. So don't get so sticker shocked when you hear, oh, it went for this much over and over. Just start to learn the market and feel the market out there. And your realtor will eventually help you with that too. When you're making the offer, if possible, do an inspection or try to get an inspection clause based on how the market is. Check the roof, the foundation, the electrical, the plumbing, if there are any leaks. I've brought contractors to the properties before. The more, the better. And you can sometimes use what you find negotiating either right there in the deal or later on if you were conditional, or maybe even at the lawyer's office. And yeah, closing costs. Before you get your property, you have to spend more money. So you've saved up all that money for the down payment at the beginning. But you got to save a little bit more, because you're going to have to pay for your lawyer. It might be between $1,000 and $1,500, and possibly land transfer tax if applicable. And then obviously, if you got the property and there's work to be done, or you have a vacant unit on possession, you might have to renovate the property. So now you need more money to renovate the property. So there's a lot of money in investment properties that go out the door immediately. That's why it's so important to know your numbers at the beginning. But when you're renovating these properties, you don't have to renovate it to the standard that you may live in. If the max rent is $1,000 for a one-bedroom apartment, you're probably not going to spend $50,000 on the interior renovations and put granite countertops everywhere, because you're just not going to see the return. You can renovate it to the standard of that neighborhood, and you can determine from other rental ads of what the prices are in that area and see what units you're up against and what renovations they've done at their units. And the next thing, it's renting it out. And you can do two different ways: tenant screening yourself, or you have a professional management company. And when I did it myself back in the day, I would ask open-ended questions, and I find this works out very well. So you'd ask them, let's say they call you on the phone and they say, hey, can we go see the property tonight? You might ask them some questions first before running over to the property, wasting your time. Shut your dinner down quickly and get down there. You say, do you prefer smoking units or non-smoking units? Now, likely you don't have smoking units, but they might say something like, oh, I want a smoking unit, or they might say, well, I smoke, but only outside. You can say, okay, I'll let you know when I'm doing showings. And, probably not going to ever call that person back. And another great one is, what sort of pets do you have? And this is a great way to determine what it is. You're always just thinking it's going to be a cat or a dog, but you might find out that they have a snake, and that would be something you're going to want to know, and you might not also do the showing with them too. This just gets the tenants talking, and you don't do whatever they want to do. I like to have them fill out applications before I do the showings, and usually they will say, yeah, but can I just go look at it before I do the application? That's a big red flag. They won't listen to you already as a landlord when you've asked for them to fill out an application. Therefore, I would deflect and say, okay, I'll let you know when we're doing showings. And then you can have a professional management company checking out their credentials, checking out their credit checks and everything on them to determine if they're going to be a good tenant. And you can give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down, if you want to go that route with the professional management company. Next, you can scale up. You got your first property, it's time to get your second property. That one's running good. I started off buying a triplex and house hacking and living in it for free. And we do have a video on this channel talking all about how I got my very first deal. From there, I was able to move to a duplex, live in that. And now I'm living in my single family home and still have my rental properties. And now I have over 100 units, big apartment buildings now, but using these original strategies as a landlord and investment property to purchase the bigger ones. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you guys consider subscribing to the channel and don't forget to hit the like button and notification bell. And if you want to see the big projects that I'm up to, get over and follow me on Instagram at Jeff Wybo. And there might even be some private lending opportunities in the future. And if you want to learn about them, you can send me a DM. And really appreciate you guys watching. Bye.